The drama surrounding this moment for Raider Nation feels like a long-delayed release of pressure that has been building all season. After weeks of frustration, confusion, and visible disconnect between the team and its quarterback, the door has finally opened to something new. Geno Smith not being ready against Philadelphia isn't just an injury update. It's a turning point. Because for the first time in what feels like forever, the Raiders are being forced into a decision fans have been begging for. This is the moment Kenny Pickett steps into the spotlight, and whether it was planned or not, it feels inevitable. Geno's time in Vegas has been defined by inconsistency on the field and tension off it. The throws haven't been sharp, the offense has looked lifeless, and the energy has felt wrong. Add in the sideline antics, the gestures toward fans, the visible frustration, and it stopped feeling like a temporary slump and started feeling like a relationship that had already ended. Raider Nation didn't just lose patience. It lost belief. And when belief is gone, everything else collapses with it. So now, heading into a matchup against the Eagles, of all teams, the Raiders turn to Kenny Pickett. There's something almost poetic about it. The same quarterback who took the final snap in a Super Bowl win now finds himself lining up across from that same opponent, wearing different colors, with everything to prove. This isn't about nostalgia. This is about opportunity. Pickett has waited. He's watched. He's prepared. And when he finally got a brief chance last week, he didn't waste it. Coming in cold against Denver, Pickett looked composed, efficient. 8 completions on 11 attempts. Nearly 100 yards. A beautifully placed touchdown that reminded everyone what competent quarterback play actually looks like. The offense moved. The huddle responded. For the first time in weeks, drives didn't feel doomed before they started. That matters more than any stat line. But here's where the story gets complicated, because Raider Nation is caught in a familiar emotional trap. Hope versus logic. Winning versus planning. Because as exciting as it is to finally see a different quarterback under center, there's a quiet fear sitting beneath the surface. What if the Raiders actually start winning games? What if this late-season spark costs them the draft position they've spent months sliding toward? This franchise knows this pain all too well. Meaningless wins late in lost seasons. Sliding down draft boards. Watching potential franchise quarterbacks go to other teams. It's happened before, and fans are terrified of watching it happen again. Especially now, with a draft class that actually offers real promise at the position. When you're already not playing for the postseason, every win becomes a complicated emotion. It feels good in the moment, but it can cost you the future. And yet, it's hard to ignore how broken the offense has been. Drives stalling. Red zone failures. A running game that never establishes itself. A passing attack that looks disjointed and hesitant. Geno Smith didn't create all of those problems, but he didn't solve any of them either. A quarterback change alone doesn't fix a team, but it can change the temperature in the room. Sometimes that's enough to make things dangerous. That's why this Kenny Pickett start matters so much. Not because he's guaranteed to be the future, but because he's a real evaluation. This is a chance to see how the offense looks with a quarterback who plays within structure, who doesn't force the spotlight, who simply runs the system and lets the game come to him. Even if the Raiders lose, competitiveness matters. Clarity matters. You need to know what you have. Pickett could easily become a valuable piece moving forward. A veteran presence. A bridge. Someone who can stabilize things while a young quarterback develops. That role matters more than fans sometimes admit. And if he proves he can command the offense, protect the ball, and keep games respectable, he earns his place in the conversation. Of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. Pete Carroll's fingerprints are all over this situation, and his stubbornness has been impossible to ignore. The favoritism. The hesitation to make changes. The reluctance to play younger guys despite preaching development. It's been a theme all season. And it's hard not to see this quarterback switch as something forced rather than chosen. But forced or not, opportunity is opportunity. The rest of the roster is dealing with its own crossroads. Caleb Rogers stepping in and performing well only raises more questions about why he wasn't playing sooner. Colton Miller returning to practice creates another debate entirely. Protect the quarterback now, or protect the future. Play your best players out of pride, or keep them healthy for a season that actually matters. These are uncomfortable questions, but they're necessary ones. Because the Raiders aren't competing this year. Pretending otherwise only delays the inevitable. The real battle now is between short-term satisfaction and long-term vision. Do you want to feel better on Sundays in December? Or do you want to build something real for next year and beyond? Kenny Pickett's start against the Eagles sits right at the center of that tension. He represents change. He represents possibility. And he represents risk. Fans want to win, but they also want direction. They want to know the franchise finally has a plan, not just a reaction. And that's what makes this moment so compelling. This isn't just about who takes the snap on Sunday. It's about what the Raiders are willing to prioritize. Pride or progress. Comfort or clarity. Immediate relief or future payoff. If you're Raider Nation, you're torn. And that's understandable. You want to see effort. You want to see fight. You want to see competence. But you also want to see this team stop repeating the same mistakes year after year. So now it's Kenny Pickett time. Not because everything is fixed, but because something finally changed. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button so more Raider fans can join the conversation. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me honestly where you stand. Do you want the Raiders to compete and win games down the stretch, or lose now to win big in the future? Can Kenny Pickett earn a real role on this team moving forward? And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Turn on notifications and stay locked in, because this season may be lost, but the decisions being made right now will shape everything that comes next.